On this week's episode, we are at the Transport and Cleansing Department, where we will be speaking with Mr. Andre Arthur, who is the head of the department, and he will now introduce himself and let us know a little bit more about the roles and functions of the Transport and Cleansing Department.
Hi, my name is Andre Arthur. I am the Superintendent of Transport and Cleansing at the Port of Spain Corporation.
Thank you, Mr. Arthur, for joining us today, and we're going to jump straight into it, okay? So can you tell us what are some of the major or the most important roles of the Transport and Cleansing Department?
Well, the most important functions are to remove household and commercial garbage via pickups at residential and commercial addresses, supervising contractors in East Port of Spain in the contracted areas, and the repair and maintenance of the corporation's fleet of vehicles.
Okay, and the fleet of vehicles are, for example?
Compactors, dumper trucks, small 2 yards, 3 yards pickups, 4-door pickups, and a few cars, station wagons.
Okay. Just looking out the window, I can see a variety of things happening outside. Trucks and dumpsters and a whole bunch of stuff. So are there different sectors or different parts of the department that fall under the Transport and Cleansing? Can you elaborate a little bit about that?
Well, there are quite a few levels of work that is being done here. We have tiremen. They have to deal with the 100 and odd vehicles from station wagon straight up to tractor, 10-wheelers. They have to change all those tires whenever go out on breakdowns, the landfill, which is quite hazardous. And they function pretty well based on several shifts, certain amount of people per shift, and they handle it very well. We have the welders. They fix all the metal parts of the vehicles, especially when they get damaged or the parts of them rot, they replace those parts. We have the sanitation section, the painting and straightening section, and they are right now looking to get better housing. The sanitation in particular, there's 165 of them there, and we haven't really accommodated them the way we're supposed to. On this side, this building here, we have tractor mechanics, we have the regular mechanics, the electricians, auto electricians, and stores, among others. Upstairs it would be the clerical, and where the offices that people come to pay are located. We have the maintenance sections to the back that maintain the compound, and they all function pretty well with the setup that is here, but it's not ideal, but we work with it.
Mr. Arthur, what are some of the biggest, or what is the most biggest challenge working as the superintendent of the Transport and Cleansing Department?
Without a doubt, it would be funding to build accommodations for sanitation section, which is about 165 persons right now. Funding to build a lunchroom and common room, funding to install thermal installation for the roofs, funding to train workers, funding to repair and maintain the fleet of vehicles, etc. Funding is basically it.
And why so?
Allocations that they give to us never covers what we need. It costs approximately $6 million, a little over $6 million, to service all of these vehicles per year, because it's every 6 weeks to 4 weeks, to 8 weeks, and the extraneous parts that we may need, tires and all these other things, and to buy diesel for all of the corporation vehicles that use diesel. There's only about 6 or so that use gas. The rest is diesel. We cannot cover it with the allocations that we keep getting, which keeps reducing every year down to 445,000, I think, this year. That's not nowhere close to what is needed.
And why is this so important?
If this fleet is to stay afloat, and we are to continue providing the services that the purchasers need, our stakeholders. We have to have vehicles that are functional and can go at a moment's notice, and we shouldn't have to worry that time it reach round the corner it shut down.
Because you all are the backbone of
yes, we are the backbone of the organization when it comes to the fleet of vehicles, sanitation, and any other emergencies that may come up, we handle it.
Right. How do you ensure, or how do you, I should phrase it, how do you supervise the transportation of waste to ensure that it doesn't contaminate the air, the waterways, the roadways, in terms of dumping or disposal of waste?
Well, basically, the city of Port of Spain is divided up into two areas. The contracted area, which includes Belmont, Gonzales, Laventille, down to Sealots and the Central Business District. The rest of the city, from Cookery to around the Savannah, down to Park Street, Richmond Street, Rising Road, and is divided in areas that are done at several times, different times of the day, and the refuge is taken to the landfills. The contractors also carry their refuge to the landfill.
So when the garbage is collected, how do you ensure that the transportation of this garbage is efficiently done so that it doesn't contaminate the air, the water sources, the roadways? How does that process take place?
All right. Once we utilize the compactors, that is already a safe transportation vehicle that is crushed and compacted and sealed. However, when we use the dumpers with the tractors, we usually cover the top of the trays with tarpaulin and carry to the landfill. When it reaches to the landfill, that's a different story. We have no control over that.
Right. Recycling. How important is recycling? And do you think recycling should be a part of the Transport and Cleansing Department, that it should be something that the Transport and Cleansing Department, an initiative that they do to bring recycling as part of, like, in the whole structure of dumping of waste or collection of waste?
Yes, the Transport and Cleansing Department were part of a system that did do that. I think we should restart the effort, and it should be a part of every household to teach and be part of the recycling process. My aim has been that the department must reduce waste and to do what we can to make sure it generates less waste in general as a company and as an organization. We cannot prevent it, so we should adapt to suit how we're going to dispose of it.
Yes.
Other than that, recycling is done all over the world, and we have to follow suit, because we will be up to our own throats with garbage if we don't find a way to deal with all the methods that they have there. Everything is already available, so we should just go with the flow and fall in line to do what is necessary for our country.
So as simple as you have waste in your kitchen after peeling vegetables, how to make use of that waste in terms of
composting,
a collection of plastic bottles,
yes,
other glass bottles, cans. You know, can you encourage, how do we encourage or put out something to encourage John public that, hey, you can be a part of this process to make the whole system move smoothly and have a cleaner, better community, city, Trinidad and Tobago?
Yeah, well, ideally, start with the little children in the kindergarten. They are the ideal people to put grown people to shame. Mommy and daddy, you're littering. Mommy and daddy, you're not recycling. They are going to emphasize those words and those attitudes that require big people to behave in a more structured way. That's where we need to start and move forward with that. Make it a part of the criteria for education. It should be.
Mr. Arthur, who do you consult with about waste management issues? say for instance, like burgesses, residents, councillors? Who do you get consult from?
Well, wherever there is a town meeting, citizens calling in to have particular jobs done, and requests from councillors, administration, engineers, it either falls into our schedule or we make the necessary arrangements to rectify or adjust to the need of the individual or the area. I do a lot of online research to see how some of the same issues are dealt with and see if it can be adjusted to our local situation. I attend council meeting, and those feedbacks that we'll get from the 12 councillors and 4 aldermen usually help us to make adjustments to whatever it is that is needed.
What have you done to improve the Transport and Cleansing Department at the Port of Spain Corporation since you've been holding the position as Superintendent of the Transport and Cleansing Department?
Well, that's a big list. On the infrastructural side, I built bridges, built railings along the drains, built concrete walkways to the highway, painted the buildings inside and out, built a ramp, wash bay, built housing for about 4 compressors, built the maintenance section in the back of the compound on that side, refurbished some 5,000 gallon tanks that were in the muddy bag. They had colas in it. We refurbished them and utilized them because we didn't have money to buy anything else. We installed 3 1,000 gallon tanks for fresh water. We actually reduced a massive amount of overtime that had some pain in it, but it was done. We cut out all the irregularities that was happening when we purchased oil, batteries and tires. That was a big fix. We reduced the working hours, which was like 24/7. The last shift would be the first shift. That was cut down from that 24-hour period to about 16. And I think the biggest thing is that Vimcut was invited by me to come and partner with the Port of Spain Corporation, and Council and CEO and the rest of the executives made it happen. And it worked for a while. We are in a revamped position now, but it's probably going to come back in the near future. Other than that, everything else is a lot of other stuff that I could call, but
right.
I will limit it to that. My list is very long.
What does the Superintendent of Transport and Cleansing day-to-day activities involve?
The daily routine it's like running a daycare. Actually, they refer to down here as Arthur's Daycare because of the behavior of some of the employees and how it runs. The day starts off with meetings online or face-to-face, individuals or sections, and it just keeps going until I get a break, and then I have to deal with the actings, requisitions, sick leave, casual, calls from individuals that want work done immediately, or as we said before, garbage truck pass and leave the rubbish outside. All these things that we have to deal with one after the next. Reports and requests from council, and they usually wanted by a certain committee time or before statutory. And after all that is said and done, I have to take a break from here, or else I'll cramp up. So I take a break and I walk the yard, and usually I will have 2 or 3 stand-up meetings with employees to bring them up to date with what's going on. After that, I come back up, the same routine all over again, and evening time I do the same thing all over again. Pay sheets are, whenever they're necessary, I have to stay and sign those. But it's a hectic day. It's a real hectic day.
Well, Mr. Arthur, I must say it was a pleasure coming down to visit you at the Transport and Cleansing Department. And this is, as I said in the previous episodes, this is one of my favorite questions to ask. What is your favorite part about working at the Port of Spain Corporation?
Well, it used to be about meeting all those that were here before me when they come to visit. I have gone through probably a dozen mayors, 7 CEOs. So I've been here a while, and I met them, conversed with them, and I would say for the last 11 years, my main concept now is to make sure that we raise the standard back to what I knew when I first came in of the corporation, and make sure every citizen, it's not citizens we have, not burgesses, citizens, get the best treatment they deserve in service from us all. That's what I've been doing for the last 11 years. Just making sure that if somebody falls down on that side, I will find a way to fix it so that we can move forward as an organization. It's difficult as hell, but I'm doing it.
And that concludes this week's episode on Know Your Corporation. Thank you for joining us. Stay tuned to our next episode where we will highlight another department.